Okay, continuing with the greatness that is Ralph Waldo Emerson's Self-Reliance. Let's get a little further into it, I hope. I'm going to be stopping for a little bit of discussion on those points that I found most profound or most inspirational or most thought-provoking for myself, and see if we can get some conversation going on that idea. Yeah, so let's continue. He left off here. A man should learn to detect and watch that gleam of light which flashes across his mind from within, more than the luster of the firmament of bards and sages. Yet he dismisses without notice his thought because it is his. In every work of genius we recognize our own rejected thoughts. They come back to us with a certain alienated majesty. Great works of art have no more affecting lesson for us than this. They teach us to abide by our spontaneous impression with good-humored inflexibility than most when the whole cry of voices is on the other side. Else tomorrow a stranger will say with masterly good sense precisely what we have thought and felt all the time, and we shall be forced to take with shame our own opinion from another. Now, really quick, I just think that that thought is very important. The idea that if you don't say it yourself, your thoughts go out into the ether. If you study Charles F. Hannell or Wallace D. Wattles, two of my favorite authors, you'll find that they both talk about this thinking, or the substance that permeates and penetrates the inner spaces of the universe. That's Wallace D. Wattles. Charles F. Hannell talks about well, I forget what the exact thing is, but it's the same idea that between us and everything else, there is matter. I mean, there is an invisible substance. So there's something there, and that's what picks up and travels. All of our thought impulses go there, all of the sound waves. When you don't have the radio turned on, the radio signal and all the stuff that's in the air, it doesn't just disappear. It's still there, but we can't pick up on it. We're not dialed in or basically tuned into that frequency or whatever's out there in the airways. Basically what I'm getting at is that same stuff that those songs travel through, those signals, those radio signals, is the same substance that our thoughts travel through. So every thought that's ever been thought before is and exists in this infinite intelligence source that penetrates the space between us and everything else solid and in form around us. And that's how that 100th monkey the phenomenon kind of takes place too, is that the fact that it's happening, or that the thoughts are out there in the ether, are how they're able to be perceived and picked up by others. So every thought that's been thought before is basically shared. We just have to learn how to tune ourselves in with the infinite intelligence, where we can actually tap into the thoughts of all those great minds that existed before us, that are existing right now with us. But in the same manner, your own thoughts are out there in that ether as well. So do not allow tomorrow a stranger to say with masterly good sense precisely what you have thought and felt all this time, but have been too ashamed to share your opinion with others. That's kind of what he's saying here. I think that's an awesome thought. So moving forward, there is a time in every man's education when he arrives at the conviction that envy is ignorance, that imitation is suicide, that he must take himself for better, for worse, as his portion, that though the wide universe is full of good, no kernel of nourishing corn can come to him but through his toil bestowed on that plot of ground which is given to him to till. Now, that obviously there's one of his most famous quotes from this essay right here, where he talks about envy being ignorance and imitation being suicide. But what I'm most interested in, yeah, that's brilliant. That is brilliant, and I love it. But what I'm most interested in is this analogy below it, this metaphor of a person's unique gifts for the world, that they came here to share with the world your purpose. He's using it in a comparison to a farmer, basically, and that is your plot of ground. and you are meant to till it. And what he's saying is that no kernel of nourishing corn can come to him. It can't even happen, he's saying. No nourishing corn can come to him except through your toil, through his toil bestowed on that plot of ground which is given to him to till. Given to him by whom? Okay, this is another time when he drops in his background. So he still has this belief in a higher self, a higher power, a higher consciousness, a God, a bestower of life, a giver of life, a giver of this experience. If you personally didn't start this whole experience, reason can deduce that someone or something else did. These are one of the principles of philosophy that we're kind of hack away at. So whatever belief system you have, we have to set that aside for a second so that we can dialogue about this experience that we're sharing and how we can best exist and coexist and manifest greatness for not just myself but for you and for all others sharing this space with us, that can work regardless of our beliefs, but probably in complement to our beliefs as well. So we have to find a way to dialogue like that. Excuse me. So yeah, what was I saying? So basically, you were given a unique gift. Whether you know it yet or not, you have. There is a reason you are here in this precise moment in history, at this point in time, at this age, in this decade, in this millennia. All of it, everything is perfect. And I will personally use words like divine, so I'm going to say that. It's all divine. There is a divine reason for you being here, and there's a divine purpose, and there's a divine gift that you hold within you that is unique, and that is meant for this world, this time, this place, and these people, these beings that you share this reality with. I firmly believe that. I hold that truth in my private heart of hearts, and I believe that it's true for all men, and therefore it is the universal sense in my existence. And so I'm confident to say that because I believe I live by some very sound principles, and I think that that world that exists with that truth, that universal truth, applying to it is a good world, and that's what I'm sticking by. So anyways, to go forward, you were given a unique gift. What Emerson is saying here is that envy of another is ignorance, and further, imitation of them is suicide. Therefore, when you go off to till someone else's plot, someone else's ground, which is unique to them, you're not going to receive any nourishing kernels of corn. You're not going to reap the benefits of that plot. In our reality, there are ways that I guess we do that. Everybody does that, right? Anyone who's not living and working in their passion right now, myself included, this is passion right now, but I have a 9 to 5. I have a 7:30 to 4. And although that's great and everything's, you know, it's fantastic, I'm grateful for that position, that's someone else's plot of ground. That's not my baby, that's not my unique idea. And I have gifts and I have things that I want to share with this world, right? But while I'm spending all my time there, 8 hours of every day, 40 hours of every week, that's a lot of time. That's a lot of investment not to be made on my passion, on my unique gifts, developing myself so that I can give something that I'm meant to give to the world. Not only that I want to give, not only like it's just something I want to tamper with because I think it's kind of cool. My unique passion and gift, right, is what's missing, or what's I'm missing out on, and in turn the world as a reflection of that is missing out on because I am telling someone else's plot. Now, that isn't to say that all work is bad or not in harmony with your unique purpose. If you're on purpose, it's perfect. If you're not on purpose, it is a deprival, not only to yourself, but to mankind, according to Emerson, and I am in harmony with this belief as well. So this, I take it to say, in relation to your unique purpose here in life and your gifts, You need to find out what it is that makes you buzz and vibrate at your highest, and what you feel you have in your heart of hearts, in your private life, what you think about the most and what you want to explore and what would make you feel very fulfilled. What you do almost, Angel Quintana of Holistic Fashionista, a wonderful, wonderful person. She has a, I hope she doesn't mind me saying this, go to holisticfashionista.com and look it up, but I will say this, she has a concept of your hobby, the hobby phenomena, which is that whatever you do, basically you're doing right now in your day-to-day life, in your spare time, that you love doing, that you do for free, that's part of what your higher calling is. Whatever you love to do so much that you don't even think about it, it becomes second nature and you do it for free. For some people it's cooking, for some people it's like photography, others it's, you know, marketing, I guess, putting stuff out on the internet, you know, surfing the web, putting videos together, writing, drawing, painting, all of those things. Anything that you do on your own, that you just do for your release, for your free time, for your own fulfillment, is what I'm getting at. That's part of what your higher calling is. There's something to that. If you went further and deeper into that, developed it, saw what it was, your unique messages also that's tied into that, that you're meant to deliver to the world, that's what you should be doing. And the world would be so much more of a better place if you were doing that. If I was doing that. If I was doing that, you would be free to do that. And if you were free to do that, the universe as a whole would be free to do that, because what is true for you becomes the universal sense, right? And so if we are all free to till our own unique plot of land, the world is all the better for it in this philosophy. And this is to say, in an example, real world, something that bothered me was when I was coming out of high school or going into college, somewhere in that, it started to be boom, 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 healthcare industry, medical industry. No offense to anyone that's in that industry and it's their passion and they love it. I would say to analyze it, and we can talk about that at another time. The industry, not the desire to help and heal, because that's beautiful, that's divine, absolutely. But when we were told that the healthcare industry will be booming in the next blah 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 years, so get a job as a nurse, get into the health industry, I thought so many things are wrong with that. I mean, but everybody was doing it. Everybody was doing it. I even explored it, you know, because I was told, you know, hey, we know so-and-so and somebody that has this nursing program. But it wasn't for me. I'm not a nurse. I'm very squeamish, and I don't like to be around sickness. I like to be around thriving, you know, and I believe that being in that kind of atmosphere and that kind of mindset helps you to heal and helps you to thrive. So just intrinsically for me, to be around sickness all the time would reflect sickness, and it would make me sick, is what I'm saying. So whether or not that's true for actual people in that field, again, I really have a lot of respect. I think those are some of the most caring and loving people on this planet, and they have a very strong purpose here too that I would love to explore with any of you who are in that and want to find a way to get into a more holistic practice with your desires and your passion for healing, because it's a phenomenal gift to have. But anyone who just jumped on that bandwagon because they said the business is going to be booming, and they do look at it as a business, the healthcare, the medical industry as a business, they knew that basically they're saying in America that many more people are going to be sick. We anticipate sickness to boom. We anticipate suffering to shoot up. So we need you to be, you know, in school for the next such and such years to get your nursing degree, to get your nursing certificate, to get your doctor, to become an MD, whatever path or avenue, this is where you should be. And you just said, okay, I don't really feel passionate about this, but this is where there's going to be jobs, so let me go ahead and do that. Your heart's not in it. Down the line, is society better? I don't like the society. Is mankind, are we as mankind, are we as people better off because you went with that? Or would we be better off if you found what your unique gift and talents are and your passion is, and we created a need? We created a market, I guess you could say, if you want to be business minded. We created a desire, we created a future job for you in what you're passionate about and what you're good at, versus you becoming another disgruntled medical practitioner. We've all encountered angry nurses and grumpy doctors, people who didn't seem very passionate or happy about their jobs, just like someone could be in their office job. I'm not going to just pick on the medical industry. Anyone who went to something and settled for anything less than their higher calling is a disservice. That's the word I'm looking for. Is a disservice to mankind, because we did a disservice to ourselves. So I think this is important, and I think this is beautiful. Envy is ignorance. If you are envious of a person because they're a doctor, because they're a lawyer, sorry, picking on the industry again, because they are an astronaut, whatever it is, because they're a director, a film director, and you, or because they're a rapper, that's a big one, or a singer, and they have a lot of money, big cars, big, you know, whatever it is, but, sorry to say it, then you envy them, so you want to emulate them. First it starts with envy, and then it follows up with imitation. That's not you. That's an idea of something that you think is better than finding who you are. It's suicide. The imitation of another is the death of your unique person, who you came here to be and who the world needs you to be desperately. So I'm gonna back up off that high horse there, and I'm gonna leave it at that. I think that's great, excellent food for thought. Let me know your thoughts on that, but I think that's a brilliant part to elaborate and expound on his concept of the analogy of the farmer and their plot, their unique plot. And when you venture off to till another's ground, you can't get any nourishing corn out of that. You will not be fulfilled. So let's move on. So the power which resides in him is new in nature, and none but he knows what that is which he can do, nor does he know until he has tried. So again, if you don't know your unique calling, if you don't know, that's fine. None of us do when we just start out here. You have to work on it. If you need guidance, there's people out there, there's coaches, there's everything. And that's something I have a passion about myself, is helping to find people, help people guide them. Let's stop and think about it for a second. To help others come to know what they're passionate about and what they would be able to apply that passion to in order to have the best life that they could have. I would say earn a living. I have a real problem with that. We don't need to earn a living. We're human beings. We don't need to earn a living. We are alive. So it's not something you do for money. It's not your higher calling. It's something you do for a much more spiritual and divine purpose. And that is something that you can't know until you try. Try different things. You have to explore. That's why you can't be bogged down 40 hours of your week telling someone else's plot. The power which resides in you is new in nature. It never existed before, and it will never exist again. There's a saying, or a concept, an idea that's pretty sad but very true, is that a cemetery is full of ideas that never were born or never got to see the light of day, because the people, the beings that they were housed in, never explored them, never saw them to fruition. A cemetery is a graveyard of dead ideas just as well as it's full of people that have passed on. That's a sad thought. So don't let your ideas go to the grave. Don't let your talents and your uniqueness go to the grave. Be you. Find out what that calling is. Break out of the old. It's time to evolve to a new way of thinking. Actually, it's an old way of thinking. It existed before, but we just have been conditioned away from that to serve another agenda, another purpose. So we have to think about that. That's what philosophy is. It brings us back to the basics so we can think about how we are behaving and then get it in alignment and in harmony with spirit, with our divine nature, what will help us to continue on to thrive and evolve. And that's where we go. if we're doing anything but that, it needs to be shed away. We thank it for where it's got us today, but see that there is a new way, a better way, and that 100th monkey will help us spread it around the world. Okay, so moving forward. Again, so the power which resides in you is new in nature, and none but you know what it is that you can do. And you don't even know it until you have tried. Not for nothing, one face, one character, one fact makes much impression on him and another none. This sculpture in the memory is not without pre-established harmony. The eye was placed where the one ray should fall, that it might testify of that particular ray. We but half express ourselves, and are ashamed of that divine idea which each of us represents. It may be safely trusted as proportionate and of good issues, so it be faithfully imparted, but God will not have his work made manifest by cowards. A man is relieved and happy when he has put his heart into his work and done his best, but what he has said or done otherwise shall give him no peace. It is a deliverance which does not deliver. In the attempt his genius deserts him. No muse befriends, no invention, no hope. The next paragraph begins with another famous of Emerson's quotes from this essay, in which he simply says, "Trust thyself." Trust thyself. Trust yourself. You know what you are meant to do, and you know deep down if what you're doing is not ringing true for your heart and your purpose. If you feel unfulfilled in any way, that's a dead ringer. You need to look at that. We have settled. You have settled. I have settled. Your parents have settled. And therefore, the 100 monkeys of the world, we've all settled for less than we are called by the divine to do. Right? The way of life, the way we're living, is not in harmony with the bigger picture. It's not the best way we could be living, is what I'm getting at. And so if you feel any discord in your heart about what you're doing right now, or what anyone around you is doing, if you feel like your friends and family are settling and you want them to have better because you found your passion, keep going with that. You're on the right track. We need to just help to spread this message so everyone can see that there's a better way for all of us. And we just need to trust ourselves and listen to each other and join together and see what we feel in our private hearts and bring that out, bring that forward so that we can all get to a better place. That's the goal. That's the goal here. Moving forward, he says, trust thyself. Every heart vibrates to that iron string. Accept the place the divine providence has found for you, the society of your contemporaries, the connection of events. Great men have always done so, and confided themselves childlike to the genius of their age, betraying their perception that the absolutely trustworthy was seated at their heart, working through their hands, predominating in all their being. And we are now men, and must accept in the highest mind the same transcendent destiny, and not minors and invalids in a protected corner, not cowards fleeing from a revolution, but guides, redeemers, and benefactors, obeying the almighty effort and advancing on chaos and the dark. I'm going to end on that part because he goes into kind of a different concept, that this is something so... He's saying to you directly here that we are now men. So when we started off, he says that, great men have always done so. They confided themselves to childlike genius. So we were kids at play. We used our imagination. We tested the boundaries. We were explorers. We were inventors. We've gotten ourselves to this place, and now we're men and women. I don't get offended. I know the time was different. So it's like we're adults. Right? We are an evolved being, our species. We're supposed to be at the height of our evolution, but not a lot seems to be moving forward except for technology, robots, AI. That's not real. That doesn't, I'll talk about that in another video. I have a huge problem with that. But now we are men, and we must accept in the highest mind the same transcendent destiny. We are not minors and invalids. We're not sitting in a protected corner. Emerson says, don't sit in a corner. Don't be a coward. It says earlier, God will not have his work made manifest by cowards, and you have a divine mission. You are of the divine, and that divine mission will not be made manifest by a coward. You cannot go sit and be protected in a corner. You cannot flee before a revolution. You cannot do any of those things that are small, because you are grand and divine. And what he says is your place. You are to be a guide. You are to be a redeemer and a benefactor. And it doesn't stop there. You're a guide, a redeemer, and a benefactor, obeying the almighty effort and advancing on chaos and the dark. And if you look around the world today, what state are we in? It's pretty chaotic. A lot of things that people are doing. I don't know how far down the rabbit hole you are. We can talk about it. I've done a lot of research and seen a lot of dark ways that mankind has come to. This has really prompted me to come forward with this message and my thoughts and things about, like, enough is enough. We are here, benefactors, guides, redeemers, to advance on chaos and the dark. That's your divine mission. And you have so many colorful ways to do it. People can do it through music. They can do it through healing. They can do it through teaching. They can do it through their religious outreach. They can do it through writing, making films, changing the media. There's so many different outlets that you have your own unique way, that you are here to advance on chaos and the dark, to rid the sweep of chaos and the dark on our physical plane right now, so that we can all be the 100th monkey to benefit from that. And if we all move into learning what that plot of ground that we were given uniquely to till is, and start tilling that land and start discovering how powerful we really are to really make a difference and an impact, that's what you're here for. That's what this wisdom, this knowledge is here to help us to see, that that's what we're here to do. In our application of it, we will be practicing wisdom. Wisdom is action upon knowledge and information. And this information isn't out there as common knowledge, so that's my mission, is to get it out there, to help others who are interested in this to assemble, so that we can start putting together plans. Plans for ourselves, to better ourselves, to let our world within become our world without. And those who still think that it's impossible, those who have negativity in their hearts, you know, maybe they'll be the 100th monkey. It's not an issue. This is for you, the ones who are ready, the ones who feel called to something more, and the ones who want to make a difference, to see good in the world. It's possible. It's absolutely possible. We got to talk about it, though. We got to read stuff like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.